Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and find yourself another podcast you want to listen to. And check out our sponsor, Strap and Roll Soap Company. Use promo code BEEFSQUATCH to get some money off your order, especially for that Scrub-A-Kami for mommy or your or the Jiu-Jitsu shirt. We just got some more back in stock. And our other sponsors, Rolls Gear as well as Tape Armor. And find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob, and I just got finished recording an episode with the guys from the BJJ Campaign podcast. And if you haven't heard of them, they're another North Carolina-based podcast. And we had a really good conversation that may or may not have had a special guest just jump in, James Clingerman, actually, a third-degree black belt out of Indiana. So it was a co-stream podcast. We had James Clingerman as well, so a lot of topics got covered and had a great time. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And like I said, don't forget to find all of our old stuff at bjjshow.com. Like and subscribe to us on iTunes. And hope you guys enjoy this episode.
Welcome to episode 48 of the BJJ Campaign Podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 2 stripes.
Phil Coors, A2, blue belt, 1 stripe.
Rob Austin, A4, brown belt, no stripes.
And Rob is co-streaming with us today. He's got the Big Jiu-Jitsu podcast. Rob, thanks for being with us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on.
And where are we today, Rob?
We are currently in the radio room of Camp Laurel, I think it is, the Origin Immersion Camp, day 2? Day 2?
Day 1 was a blur. Yeah,
day 1 was a blur. Yeah, we're day 2.
Day 2.
Day 1 goes by so fast.
It really does.
Day 2's just getting started.
Maybe our favorite place on earth.
It's the best week of the year.
Hey man, I'm hooked with it, man. You get
How many times have you been here now?
This is actually, let's not worry about that right now. It's actually my second time here. So like last year was my first year, but I've known a lot of the guys that are here for a long while because I finally bit the bullet, came to last year's camp. I was supposed to go the year before, but I was in Germany with the military. I was in the Army. And when there was supposed to be a camp, I was in Africa for doing some work there. And I was like, well, not this year. And then James Hoffman, the guy who owns Strap and Roll Soap Company, for a full year pretty much said, you're worthless. I hate you. You're scared of camp. And I kept saying, like, hey, it's not my fault, dude. But then I got through it and flew over last year from Germany and got the camp in, and I'm hooked.
And you're back from Germany now, right? You're living in Fayetteville?
Yeah, I'm living in Fayetteville, man.
Boy, back to the USA.
I miss Germany, but, it's home. I'm originally from Fuquay, and it's actually kind of nice to be able to talk about this on the podcast because, we're both, like, North Carolina-based podcasts, so I can say Fuquay and not, like, the Raleigh area. It's, like, south of Raleigh, like 30 minutes. Yeah.
Shell Shock BJJ. That's what I associate with Fuquay Arena.
Exactly. So, yeah, I grew up near Wake Tech. Or not grew up. I spent some time in Apex. I'm originally born in Apex, but I call Fuquay my home because that's where I grew up the most in there. So,
and you originally started training way back when with Team Rock in Fayetteville, correct?
It was actually Anger. Team Rock did have a school in Fayetteville. I trained under Brian Mingy and Neil Weaver at the original TFTC location in Anger, which is one city over from Fuquay. And that was back in 2004, 2005.
Wow. Long time.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of changes in jiu-jitsu. Let's talk about that.
All right. Well, like, we got to give the warning. I did take a break between like 2006 up till like about 2009, 2010.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, but there's big differences in what jiu-jitsu looks like today and what it looked like in 2004, 2005.
There really, a ton of it.
Like, I mean, let's talk about that because I'm always very interested in that game because even just being in it for 2.5 years, I see stuff come around now that 2.5 years ago was like, oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. And it's coming around again. It's like, oh, this is really cyclical. So what's some of the differences you've experienced? Say way back when, maybe one of the things that is now becoming popular today is that arm over the arm and gripping the lapel, that they call it an old school grip, but it's kind of coming back in competition today. Whereas you didn't see that for the last couple of years.
Yeah. The thing that I always talk about is like the basics will always be there. The basics always will show up and they work. You know, Hodger Gracie's proved that. Like, you know, there's so many guys who do come back and they show the basics are what like work throughout time. When I started, my coach Brian, he did show some leg locks, so like a straight ankle lock, a knee bar. I was brand new, no gi, white belt. Like I had to borrow a gi to do a tournament because I'd never worn a gi before for the tournament.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was like it was a Pendergrass tournament. It was in Raleigh. I remember it, and the special guest that year was Matt Serra, and this is right after he'd finished filming The Ultimate Fighter season 4. And
wait, did he beat St. Pierre at that time, or was that before? That
was legitimately right before he fought him.
No kidding.
Yeah. So he we did come in with the. I asked him. I was like, "Hey, is Mark Lehman that big of a jerk in real life?" Or wait, how bad of language can I use on the podcast?
Yeah, every language,
everything. I was like, "Hey, is he as big of an asshole in real life as he is like on TV?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that dude's a fucking douchebag." Like, he was very animated about it. So yeah, that was right before the St. Pierre fight, and the surprise knockout that he got for that. So that was the big thing. You know, Matt Serra was there, and I'd never done like a gi tournament, so my coach Brian let me borrow his gi. And
yeah, go ahead.
It went well. I got second. I was excited about it. So, and I actually, believe it or not, won my first match with a straight ankle lock. And
was that legal in white belts?
Yes,
then?
absolutely.
Okay, because it's not legal in white belt today.
It is.
Certain tournaments, yeah.
What is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Straight ankle locks. Yeah.
So, but the thing is too, you couldn't do any reaping of the leg, either inside or outside.
Sure.
So you pretty much, I had foot on the hip, foot on the inside of the thigh, and I did my straight ankle lock.
Yeah.
So, because I remember that, like looking over at Brian, I'm like, "Is this good? Is it okay if I do this?" Because I was just dumb white belt at that time, no stripe white belt, just. And then
no stripe, no gi white belt.
No stripe, no gi white belt. And then, you know, I will admit that like the finals, I tapped to a smother because
first tournament, folks. You heard
it here. Man, it's
real deal.
It's not as graceful, I guess, as everybody thinks it is. You know, everybody like gets the cool podium pictures, and I remember driving home. I was like, I tapped out to a fucking dude laying his chest in my face.
Was it like that Will Smith? Did he have a bare chest so that you were getting that his full manliness?
There was no rash guard under the gi at this time.
That wasn't no rash guards in 2004.
No, it was kind of interesting, like how you train. So I had basketball shorts. I'd wear like undershirts and stuff. Like there wasn't much like for rash guards, or you had sprawl shorts, you had tap out. And if you're adventurous, and I'm gonna call him out, Trevor Burns.
Oh,
I started training with Trevor Burns. Trevor Burns,
no kidding, yeah. World Masters champ.
Yeah, he
both
just
absolute
won,
and his weight class.
He's a monster, man.
Monster.
He's a rough dude, and I'm gonna call him out because I love him. I have picture, I have evidence of it. But he would wear Valley Tudo shorts to train Noki, and
Trevor, bring them Valley Tudo shorts back.
I agree,
baby.
man. I agree, dude. He looks,
I thought you were going to say something like Bad Boy.
Well, I don't know if they were Bad Boy or not, but I was like, Trevor, you don't look half bad in those, man. Like, so
legit.
It was pretty awesome. But yeah, that was it, man. I was also kind of a broke college student, so I couldn't afford the gi. So Brian really helped me out with that one. But yeah, that's kind of how it was with I guess like leg locks. But that was like a limited white belt knowledge of what was going on at the time. And then I guess fast forward to 2009, 2010 when I started back up. I was kind of joined the military and kind of fell back in with combatives. And I was a super badass, like no stripe white belt. So like in combatives terms, it was pretty good for like everybody else who hadn't done anything. So I'm like, I'm really good at smashing people with no experience whatsoever. And I was like, well, it's probably about time I get back into it. It'd be nice. And then I was in Virginia. I found a school out there.
Which one did you go to?
I was at, it was originally called USA Jiu-Jitsu. It was in Springfield, Virginia, which it later turned into Matt Larson Combat Fitness Center.
Okay.
like 3 months before I left there.
Nice. And initially, what drew you, Rob? What drew you to jiu-jitsu? What was that? I mean, for me, just as an example, I was a wrestler and I've gotten way out of shape, and I was listening to Jocko, who's here at camp, and was like, I got to get back into something, and I was like, this is it. Whenever I did it, I was like, holy cow, this is it for me. This is good.
Did you wrestle in North? Are you from North Carolina?
I'm from West Virginia originally.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I did Taekwondo for the longest time, and we had a Muay Thai program, I guess if you want to call it that. Pretty much, it was a link system, which was under Jarn Chai, and they're like, oh, cool, Muay Thai, and I could do like a jab cross hook. And then, when I started training with TFTC, I realized my jab cross hook was not as good as I actually thought it was. And a lot of harder lessons and like how not to be terrible at Muay Thai. I'm still not good at it, but my friend Brian Potter, I met through the Muay Thai school or the Muay Thai program because there wasn't much in the area of Fuquay at that time. It was either you did Taekwondo at the school I was at, or you did Taekwondo at the other school on the other side of the city, or you drove into like Raleigh, which for a like 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid it's like a 45-minute drive for me to go train at like what Forge Fitness is now.
Billy's place.
But it wasn't even on my radar. So I was like, I'll do some Muay Thai. Potter's like, hey, we're going to watch Pride. I'm like, what's that? He's like, oh, it's MMA. People can stomp each other on the head, stuff like that. So then when I saw like, the Gracies and Sakuraba, and they're doing all sorts of like, submissions and just beating the tar out of each other. I was like, that's cool. I wish I knew where I could learn that. Yeah. And believe it or not, Brian Mingy actually came to one of the classes and like choked me out. I'm like, okay, you're opening a school? I'll be there. So kind of not really completely departed my Taekwondo roots, but definitely skewed more towards Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from that. And I just wanted to learn how to choke people out and break arms. And that was just kind of like, what's a early 20s guy want to do, at that time. I got something to prove, and, I was a really tough kid before that. Now I can do it, man. It's martial arts. It's cool. You see the guys and you're like, oh man, look at that dude. He's like, you look up to Hoist Gracie and stuff. Like this guy's just beating the snot out of people doing just jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, I want to do something like that. I want to be able to like be seen as like, hey, that guy can handle himself. But then it just turned into me loving it.
Right.
And just doing it. Like all the original reasons are like out the door for that.
Isn't that funny how that always changed? I mean, it changes for me from year to year because I wanted to do it to get in shape.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I really wanted to do it for. And then I just fell in love with the art itself and started competing and doing other stuff. Oh yeah. Why don't you talk a little, Phil? I mean, we're over here. You're talking. Still over there dicking around. Come on.
True. Beating on the table.
But, it changes and jiu-jitsu changes with you. And what I love seeing is every year we come back here and Alexi's first seminar last night, like, I don't know if it's every year, but last year and this year it was on breaking guard.
Yeah.
I love that, man. It still fascinates me that the fundamental concepts are the concepts that you have to perfect over a lifetime.
Yeah, and the breakout session after that, at least for the brown belts and the black belts, we just expanded upon that. Like, okay, so what comes next? What are we going to do from there? So now it gives us options, right? That's something that I feel is kind of the cool part of jiu-jitsu, because I want to learn about all the weird branches. Like, you can go out there and do this. Like today we did a pass under from De La Riva guard that Dedeco taught. And then Alexi came up to me and Roger, and he grabbed my sleeve. He said, let me show you something. And he dug his hand into my forehead, and it was painful.
It hurts. He did that to us yesterday.
I've never seen that. And that's crazy, because now it's like, because usually he was like, you do that to break grips. It makes breaking grips easier. Because I was always like, somebody grabs your collar, you put both hands on top of it, and you push down, you stand straight up. So you're not like, giving them like a give when you're trying to pull the hand off. So it's a game changer. Now I don't have to use two hands. You got one hand if you just reach it up a bit and you pressure into the forearm and it goes down.
With like this grip.
Yeah, exactly that
James
one.
did that to me yesterday, and I told him, I was like, James Clingerman, I was like, it felt different when he did it, so I think you might be doing something wrong. So.
Like, yeah, he's good at jiu-jitsu and I'm not.
Yeah. So for you guys, so the thing is too, since we're co-streaming it, I can't be the one answering all the questions. So I want to know, like, when you guys both train at the same school, right?
Yes.
We do under John Plyler and Fight to Win Denver.
That's what I was going to ask, where you guys train at. So when do you guys, because I know we had talked a little bit about it on when you hit me up, you're like, you're back in North Carolina? I was like, yeah, I'm back in North Carolina. And you said like a lot of people helped you or inspired you to start this podcast. And I find it interesting because I was a blue belt as well when I started my podcast.
Were you really?
Yeah. So it was me and Sean Kyle. Sean was a white belt. I was a blue belt. And we kind of joked. I was like, who the fuck wants to hear the opinions of a jiu-jitsu guy, a blue belt guy and a white belt guy? And he's like, who cares? We're going to talk about Steven Seagal in one of the episodes. And that's what we try to do. What drew you guys to starting your own podcast and kind of wanting to be a voice in the not just the, I guess, worldwide Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, but like even North Carolina?
Yeah. We hung out a lot, and all we did was talk about jiu-jitsu. So it's pretty easy. I think we've gotten a lot better over the year or so that we've been doing it at, how the interviews happen and like what we're trying to talk about and keeping it so everybody kind of can enjoy it, but we definitely had that same thing, and we don't ever talk about like a technique or anything like that. He's terrifying. He's a very
James
terrifying
Clingerman staring at the door. Come on in, James. We're doing a podcast now. We were just talking about him, folks. This was James Clingerman, who we were just talking about with his magical grips and digging into the arm. He's popped in for a little bit. Come on around, James. Get on the mic. We're doing a co-stream with Rob Austin here on Big Jiu-Jitsu and, of course, the BJJ Campaign podcast. James, sit in Phil's seat because he doesn't talk that much anyway.
This is pretty awesome, man. Like, this is like the most impromptu guest ever. I like it. So.
Hi, guys.
Indiana Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Come a little closer to the mic. There you go. Good. That's attaboy.
I don't want to sound like Phil.
Right? I know he does really talk quietly.
We're on our way to the pro shop, so
yes. Going to buy some more gear?
probably.
Yeah, that's what happens here.
Yeah.
James Clingerman, professor at Indiana Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He just got back from Worlds, coaching his team there and competing.
Yes.
Right? And a veteran of this. Last year, he was one of the instructors here at the Origin Immersion Jiu-Jitsu camp. We learned a lot from him. Loop chokes. We learned all kinds of other stuff. And he and his wife AJ are who we made adopt Phil and I for to be our jiu-jitsu parents. So that's that. Even though I'm older than both of them,
Yeah. I don't think we're old enough. Technically.
it's just they're better at jiu-jitsu than both of us.
Right?
So James, what brought you back this year? What?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
See, I need like an email so I can prep these answers.
This is all.
No,
off
man,
the cuff.
I had a great time last year. Yeah, it's fun. It's awesome. It's a little getaway, and it's cool because you can train jiu-jitsu with some amazing people. 3, 4, 5 times a day, or you can just chill and go canoeing. One of my guys got up at like 5 this morning and went out on the lake. And
That's crazy because it was really freaking cold this morning.
Right. He was bored. So, but yeah, man, it's awesome. I enjoy the walk to and from. Like, it's just out kind of being in nature, walking around, and yeah, getting to meet everybody, and it's a good time. It's fun.
It's beautiful here.
Oh yeah,
and I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, what either technique or techniques or concepts are you looking at while you're here? And possibly this may mean that it's a specific teacher that you want to learn these things from. But whenever you train with purpose or come to a camp like this, because, Phil and I on the last episode, we kind of identified our goals for what the camp is. Because if you don't train with purpose, then you're kind of wasting a little bit of the training, right? Absolutely. Is there anything that comes to mind for you? I mean, high level black belt, third degree black belt. that you wanted to explore when you're here? I'm not saying learn, but explore more.
Yeah, nothing specific, right? But so perfect example. Today's session, Dedeco showed some lapel guard stuff, right? And it works right along with my leche guard. Okay, so a different scenario, but similar gi tie-ups. And he hit this little back take from the guys doing a back step. And so he showed 3 moves. One was the back take, but he kind of glossed over it. He's like, oh, you can also do this. And I was like, well, crap, I already do those other 2 moves. So after the session, because then Lexi taught, Hafa taught. So we got a lot of info. But I went back to Dedeco and I was like, hey, will you please redo that back take for me? Let me video that. Because I was like, I was using that from Coyote Guard. And he's like, I don't know what Coyote Guard is. I was like, well, it's Lucas Leche guard, but he's like, okay. I was like, he calls it Coyote Guard.
Right.
But, so, anytime I'm training anywhere, and not necessarily just this camp, but I look for something that mimics or is kind of in the same realm as something that I'm already good at, already playing, that I can just expand on it. And he was like, oh, yeah, the grip, because we did a high grip and we did a low grip. Well, the back take was a mid grip. And so during the training session, we actually didn't discuss the mid grip at all. Like I said, he glossed over it, but I was like, that's what I was interested in, is that extra little bit there. And so I pulled him to the side, I videoed it, I made him do it on me, and I'm like, cool. Now I have an amazing back take that fits with a game that I'm already fairly decent at, but it just, one little move like that can make a huge difference and make the whole trip worth it to me.
Right? Isn't that awesome? And you got that all on your second day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who knows what else is going to happen while we're out here? Sure, there's some surprises.
I think I know who the special guest is.
I think so too. So, who do you think it is? Because
are we supposed to say? I don't know. I mean, this will come out later.
So no, this is
don't know.
On the Big Jiu-Jitsu show. It's dropping today, so P will probably come stab me in the face if.
Yeah.
Let's just say this. I'll give the hint of who I think it is. It's one of the professors here. Professors.
Yeah, that's my guess.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, Rob.
Can't be. It cannot be.
Shut your mouth. It is.
He already surprised me at Mike Swain. I was like, oh my.
Yeah, I had no idea. Mike Swain showed up last night.
I was like, oh my God, dude.
And then they trained today. Mike Swain taught, and I was like, well, I wouldn't. No offense to the guy, and no offense to the guys I did train with, who I like I said, I picked up that fantastic move from Dedeco. But I was like, I kind of want. And I don't even like judo. I hate judo, but I want to go train with Mike.
No, judo's good.
Listen,
Judo's
whatever.
good.
I'm being 100 here. All right, Rob.
All right.
Me and Phil hate judo.
Why?
Listen,
I can't argue with James
and
and
it's
kill me.
boring.
I'm a brown belt in judo. I'm 2-time American
Yes.
Cup champion, and I
Really?
hate judo. I hate
Yeah.
judo.
Wow.
It hurts. It hurts, and I'm not good at it.
I need to have you alone on this show. Then I want to talk about that.
And I like shooting single legs. But I'm going to say this. It was such a fun session, and I actually learned some judo this morning with Mike Swain.
What I will say is, like I said, I did judo for such a long time. I competed in judo, and I always just used jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Once I learned to wrestle, so when I got my brown belt in jiu-jitsu, my coach was like, hey, you need to learn to wrestle. Like this is your black belt. He's like, jiu-jitsu wise, I could give you a black belt, but I want you to be like powerful. I want you to learn like heaviness and takedowns and like start to wrestle. And so the 3 years I had my brown, that was a big part of my focus. Well, learning to wrestle, I was like, oh, this movement, these grips, these setups, all this stuff is what judo was missing when I was taught judo. Right. And I had fantastic judo coaches. I don't know if their teaching style never resonated with me, or if I was too young to pick it up.
Right.
But once I learned to wrestle, my judo, after not doing judo for 10 years, my judo got 1,000,000 times better. So I use the grips a lot, but even now I don't do a lot of traditional throws. I do judo grips with wrestling throws. So
I like it. Oh my God, that sounds dirty, and I like it.
That is dirty.
I'll show you my devil's handshake that I hit at Worlds.
I
First
saw
match.
that. I love. Oh yeah, the one that you did the tape on.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hit it first match at Worlds.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I definitely would like to have you. I'm already putting it out there in the
Cool.
universe.
Yeah.
Show.
Absolutely.
I definitely want to hear like the full big story about like the combination of just going wrestling, judo, and like the judo competition stuff. That's wild.
Sounds good.
Groovy.
Very good. Well, James, we will.
Yeah, it's just like I'm out of here, man.
There's AJ right now waving. We will let you go with AJ
Perfect.
now. Thank you for coming in here.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
I didn't
and
mean
of
to,
course,
to hop in on the podcast.
now
Glad I did.
The most the guest who's been with BJJ Campaign the most tied with his wife, AJ. It's James Clingerman. Thank you, James.
She's not here.
No, but she was here on Beauty and the Gi.
Oh, she was. You guys did that
weren't.
co-podcast.
So now,
Dang.
booyah. Shout out to Beauty and the Gi podcast.
So what? Now you got to keep them both on there to keep the title like in the family?
We're going to see what's going on.
Okay.
You're going to be getting emails from, hey, get me on, but not AJ. She'll be like, hey, I've got some real cool stories, but James can't come on. Awesome.
That's great. Thanks again, James.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man.
See you guys later.
See you in a
Yes.
bit.
That was James Clingerman, ladies and gentlemen, Indiana Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Please, if you're in the area, stop by and train with him. He's amazing. His Peruvian neckties, loop chokes, everything that he teaches. Von Flu.
And he's got endurance BJJ too. Also,
Oh, yeah, that's
I
right.
can't fill his shoes. My stories are terrible.
Yeah, they are terrible.
It's not gonna
You
be
just
that
got to be around
They are
longer,
terrible.
man.
true.
So where were we?
So,
I think it was a good question because that was something like we did talk about before we started it. And I was like, to be totally honest, if another blue belt and white belt started a podcast, I probably wouldn't really care.
I know it's kind of terrible, isn't it?
But like, that's just the reality. And like, I knew
is.
that going in, and we talked about it early on, especially like, we're not going over any technique. Like,
Yeah.
that's just not going to happen. But I think we're up there with anybody and how much we love doing it and how much fun we have and how much I want other people to try it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think as long like you're talking about not taking the techniques, not teaching techniques. So you take the approach of just having the enjoyment of doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kind of your own like daily struggle. That's kind of what we try to cover in our podcast as well. It's just we're a white belt and a blue belt who just wanted to talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the shenanigans that we had to deal with. Now, thankfully, like, what was it? 2 months later, we both got promoted. So it was purple belt and blue belt.
There you go.
That was nice. So it gave us maybe a little more legitimacy at that point, but also like, it was cool to chronicle that, like the travel from like on air, going from using a microphone attached to a like electric keyboard for the Phantom Power that I can use a line out and put it into my computer to record off of Audacity to like now.
that's great.
Yeah. So, and then I think that I'm really excited for you guys because you're going to be able to like document that as well. Because I mean, like, this is what, 1 full year of podcasting. Just
Yeah,
about,
almost.
right?
We're 5 weeks away from, 4 weeks now away from 1 full year. And I just want to go back to that whenever we're talking about whenever we started it and who inspired us. Honestly, whenever we left, you, Jocko, all Ryan Mickler, who we just talked to.
Yeah, that was wild, too.
Yeah, that was awesome. Order Man, he's here. He's setting up in the
And
same.
he's got like a great podcast. He's asking us questions. I'm like, why are you asking me what we're doing?
It's like,
About our audio. Our audio just got to not suck. But that's the thing is that I said to Phil, man, we're sitting here, we're talking about jiu-jitsu an hour after jiu-jitsu. Why not chronicle this? Because this is going to just give us something to look back on. And, we did with the New Year's episode, we looked back on the entire year and what we were doing.
Yeah.
It's incredible what you learn in a year of jiu-jitsu.
it really is. And you're going to forget a lot of it too, which sucks too. But it shows up later.
Yeah, no. And I already have some of it, not a lot of it,
Yeah.
because I don't really know a lot of it. But
Times where something comes back and it's like, oh yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I did it for like 3 weeks and then I forgot about it completely.
yeah, no. And so yeah, I mean, I think that's a big aspect for us is that we hope the audience enjoys it and we really try to make sure that we're topical and that they do, and make sure that we're not, I mean, God knows we're not authorities on really anything other than having fun at jiu-jitsu, because I don't know of anybody who has more fun than me or Phil. Maybe Rob Austin.
Possibly. If you're at the breakout session, it was just mainly me avoiding Jimmy Mack and Roger trying to kill me, and then Hoffa calling me big and poking me. I mean, that's fun. That's still fun for me. So with you guys, 1 full year, right? Almost 1 full year doing podcasting. What are some of the challenges you guys have found with like the growing pains of doing a podcast?
Obviously, audio stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, when we got started, I had no concerns at all. I was like, it's 2018. How hard could it be? It seems like everybody has one. Like, it can't be hard. It's harder than you think.
It really is.
The video stuff was harder. We do like a 40, 50-minute podcast. So, like, it's frustrating when you think you have a video that worked and it didn't. And you're like, we can't do that again, you know?
Yeah.
And that's been a challenge. And Jen helped us a lot. Jen Eads from Beauty and the Gi podcast.
Yeah.
She spent a lot of time trying to help us equipment and stuff and get it figured out. Because it matters. I mean, it does make a difference to people. And the other big one is kind of making sure we have enough things to talk about, you know? And actually, the funny thing, the one complaint I've heard the most, pretty much the only complaint, is that we're too hard on ourselves. We do make fun of ourselves because everybody who does jiu-jitsu seems to think they suck.
Yeah. So, dude, BJJ is full of self-depreciating humor.
Right.
It really is. Like, you talk to people, you're like, oh, how long you been rolling? I'm all right, man. It's kind of been doing it for like 7 years, but kind of sucks still. Like, it's no matter what. Like, but I guess it's maybe because of the ego thing. Because people are like, yeah, I'm a brown belt. I'm way better than both of you, or like I'm pretty fucking good. Like,
he is way better.
No. But you get what I'm saying. I'd never say that. I
know. Yeah.
But I was saying, like, I always tell my guys, like, I'm not better than you. I just have more years on the mat. That's all it is. Same like move set. It just I've done them a few more times.
And it's what keeps me coming back, because I'm like, you know what? I look at all these people who are doing it and I hear it all the time. I'm like, my first year doing it, I was like, they're full of shit. They've got some sort of special thing. And then I'm like, I see it and I'm getting better and I can see me getting better. And then whenever new people walk in, it's like, oh man, I don't suck as bad as the new people.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as there's comparison. It's like,
but it's like, and then you see it, and then you experience that not sucking at certain moments in time, and you're like, this is how it's all going to be at some point in time.
Yeah.
I've just got to keep coming and figure it out, and that's what it inspired me by the talent code, and also by our coaches, John Plyler. He says it, just keep coming back, and it breaks their heart. It breaks my heart whenever people leave us. I mean, granted, I don't learn their name till they got at least one stripe on their white belt, but I'm just kidding. That is a joke, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I agree 100%. You're not even people to me. I'm kidding. I'm kidding as well.
We love the white belts. They keep the doors open, but it's, people don't realize that you're optimizing yourself by doing jiu-jitsu, and not just your physical self, your entire self.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an exercise, and everybody, the cliche of you're going to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And one of the things that I did when I was in Germany, one of my students, we call him Big John. He's John Mills. He's legitimately built. I always say this. He's legitimately built like if you saw the old comic with like the little guy on the big jack dude, and it's like, that's it, John, or whatever, Jeff, like, use his weight against him. And he's just standing there. Like, that is what Big John is built like. And he lives up to the name Big John. Like, my favorite Big John story is he did a tournament. Oh man, it was like a year ago. And this one guy had put John in a key lock. It was inside Big John's guard. And Big John was like, what are you doing, man? Reverse the key lock. Like, just defended it, right? With his one arm, and subbed the dude. Because the dude, like really, I don't know, did he snap something, or he partially tore something in his back, but he like screamed in the middle of the match. And my buddy was the guy running the tournament. I looked over at him. I was like, arms up. Like, I don't know what he did. Like, and John got up. I was like, how did I do that? It just turned out he just Big John'd his way out of it and subbed the dude somehow. But like, where in God's name was I going with this? I don't even know.
Big John.
Big John.
Big John's story.
Oh, Big John's story. Yeah.
I like Big John.
Yeah, Big John's pretty good.
What belt is Big John now?
He's a purple belt now.
Nice.
But, you know, it's jeez, man, this is terrible.
But do you keep in touch with those guys that you
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
cool.
it's Big John's going to San Antonio right now, so but
You're talking about like optimizing yourself.
oh, optimizing yourself, yeah. Oh, that's right. God. So he's very big. He's a behavioral health specialist in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
And they did something with resilience, and he wanted to incorporate Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into teaching resilience to the base. And that's
really?
Yeah, it was really cool. So pretty much it was teaching people, like kind of showing if you don't have the skill set mentally to deal with certain terrible situations, like, you know, in the military, like, oh man, I got to deploy, or hey, I got to go on TD, which is like temporary, like going somewhere away from the family, or, you know, I've got to work late and I might miss Christmas, like, or I think my first sergeant's mad at me because I was late for PT formation, stuff like that, right?
Sure.
And if you don't have the rule set or the mindset or the skill set to fix it or counter it, then you're just going to let that weight get on you. So I did like an example of being mounted and being choked. And if you don't know what's going on, you don't know how to reverse or do like the UPA drill or whatever to get out of being mounted, it's the same exact thing. You got all this weight, you got all this pressure on you, and if you stay there, it's going to be detrimental to your physical health. You know how to reverse it, you know how to deal with it, now you're okay. Just like the mental aspect of it. If you have like this weight bearing down upon you and you don't have the skill set or the know-how, then it's going to be detrimental to your mental health, which will also in turn be detrimental to your physical health.
100%. And, you know, I think that you bring up a good point there. And that is that I've always been someone who's always taken the direct approach. Yeah. What jiu-jitsu has taught me in life and in jiu-jitsu is that indirect approach is sometimes the best approach. And if you know that, just knowing it is such a powerful tool that you don't have to meet head on with everything.
Yeah.
And you know, things that exposed me to that, you know, both with the teachings of Jocko and his books and just doing jiu-jitsu, I think it's just such a valuable life lesson. And again, I don't know of anybody who's listening to these two podcasts that doesn't do jiu-jitsu, but if you are and you're not my mother, then go out and do jiu-jitsu.
You're weird. Andrew Smith said it best. He's like, why are you listening? I think he said it on Dirty Wipeout. He's like, why are you listening to this?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man?
Andrew Smith, really
It
good
kind
at
of goes back
jiu-jitsu.
to also what you were saying earlier about your goals change year over year. It started to get in shape, and jiu-jitsu helped you accomplish that goal. You love doing it. It's, in my opinion, it's free exercise. Like, it gets me like, I think every week I'm like, yeah, I just want to strength train because like that's my biggest weakness.
Yeah.
I think in jiu-jitsu, and I just don't do it because I don't like it, you know? So it's free exercise for me. So it helps you accomplish that one goal of getting in shape or being more confident in a self-defense situation. You know, there's 1,000 different reasons you could start, and you're going to accomplish that goal if you stick with it long enough. And then it's just going to be fun. And then it just, you know, at this point, it's a game to me. Like, I just want to get better at the game of jiu-jitsu.
No, I agree. I mean, like my main goal. So like my goal was always the same thing. Goals have changed. Originally, I wanted to be this fucking hardcore badass MMA fighter, clearly on the path to the UFC, because, you know, I already had this really sweet background, Taekwondo, and then, you know, got woken up real quick to like, that's not really going to probably happen. And that's okay. Because then it just changed into, I just want to do jiu-jitsu. And then I'm like, oh man, I need this for self-defense. Because, you know, like if I can't keep some dude from just smashing my face in with a brick, then like, what am I doing? And that's kind of been like the theme for the past, say 3 or 4 years. Like competition's great and everything. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with competing. I encourage competing or competition, competing. Just like for me, the pursuit of the art, like within a group of friends, as well as being able, like, having that knowledge of, like, yeah, I know I could defend myself, and that it's like I have better chances by staying on top of it, making sure my guys are good. Like, that's kind of what drives me now.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. And so Rob, whenever you started this blue belt, you got your purple belt, shortly thereafter your podcast started. What did you feel like in your jiu-jitsu? Take me from that blue to purple to brown. You recently, what's not been that recent?
It was last October.
It was shortly after camp. But take me through that kind of part of the journey. Because it intrigues me. Not that I care. Honestly, I don't really care to be promoted. Quite honestly, it's more responsibility. I'm very happy where I'm at right now as a 2-stripe blue belt.
The most fun and least amount of pressure I ever had in jiu-jitsu was white belt.
Right.
Like, honestly,
sure.
yeah. Blue belt, I think, was actually my most stressful time in jiu-jitsu.
Was it really?
Yes, it was. So, I got my blue belt. And I was really excited because I was like, oh my God, finally, like, I've been busting my ass for a while, and I got blue belt. And then it just was like, okay, so now the white belts are going to try to kill me. I can't let any white belts get me now, or else I don't deserve this blue belt.
Right.
And I was just, running through white belts because I'm like, yeah, who's the man now, Mr. Blue Belt, right? Then we had another guy named Rob, and he was a judo black belt, and he caught me with a choke, and I tapped, and I was like, fuck, I got beat by a white belt as a blue belt.
That's a judo black belt.
Yeah, I know. Well, it doesn't matter because judo and jiu-jitsu are completely, that my stance on that has changed a lot too.
Of course.
It's pretty much, it's copy. Nah. I'll leave that for another one. But I was like, that's it, man. I suck real bad. So kind of pushed through that. Did a tournament, got first there, which was pretty cool. I was happy with that. And then moved to Arizona and got just like ran through in a tournament that I did there. And I think that was kind of like a wake-up call for me. Not really, because the same shit happened in Germany as a purple belt, but we'll get to that in a second. But it was... I was like, maybe I need to work a little bit more on takedowns, because that's really where I was getting, just like tooled up on. Like, I wrestled for a couple years in high school, and I was not good at all. I was there. It was like participation trophy level.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Good job, Rob. You're
Want
still
to get
here.
that on your permanent record is what you want.
It looked really good on college. Like, I wrestled for 2 years. Like, how'd you do? I was like, well, I wrestled for 2 years. But no. So went to purple belt, and I did a lot of competition as a blue belt. Like, I tried to compete as much as I possibly could in Arizona. Thankfully, there's a lot of stuff to do in Arizona. I didn't go the IBJJF route. I did the SJJF or NABJJF type stuff out there. Then we got purple belt. I got purple belt 20. Oh man, what year was that?
Yeah,
it was like 2013. It's 2015, my bad. 2015, got promoted purple, went to Germany. I was like, all right, cool, man, I'm a purple belt. Let's show these German guys all about jiu-jitsu, because apparently, like, I was told there wasn't much. That's actually the exact opposite. There's quite a bit of good jiu-jitsu in Germany.
Sure.
And I got beat by a blue belt in a tournament by, it was EBI rules.
Sure.
And
so final, you were in overtime? Or
we were in overtime.
Yeah.
Like, no points, man, because I took them down. I was like, I had all my positions because that's what I'm used to, right? And I was like, all right, man, I'm definitely winning this fight. I should be able to submit this dude. No, he was a judo guy too. But I'm like, I should have no problem submitting this guy. And I didn't submit him. We went to overtime. Kind of understood the rules, kind of didn't. I thought, like, if I was attempting a submission from no matter what, that they would keep it like going and it wouldn't count as an escape. But I was starting a bow and arrow choke and started cinching it up, and they called it because he got out. But I was pretty down on myself for that. And then I was like, maybe I should just focus on teaching, because I was teaching there, and because I found a lot of joy in that. So me teaching helped get my, I guess, like, skill set a little more solid. And there wasn't as much like stress on it. You know, I competed a couple times in Germany. I did like a tag team tournament. I did a
cool.
It was pretty fun. Did an MMA fight, and that was really it. And then got brown belt, and I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go from here? I really got to polish this up, like for what's coming next, whenever it comes next. But like legitimately, it's never been. Well, blue belt, I do remember I was kind of hunting for it in a sense, because you know. Nobody wants to be the white belt forever. Like that just
everybody wants that validation.
Yeah. Like, you know, I'm with the cool guys now. Like look at me, I'm over here with the cool guys. And then you know, purple just showed up and brown kind of the same thing. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you know, I appreciate y'all kind of feeling that I'm worthy of it, but the mindset and just it was not like quitting. There were plenty of times I wanted to, but it's just, you know, I almost joke about being like that project car. Put too much money into it, I can't just throw it away, man. I gotta keep going.
We're gonna get that bad boy running one of these days.
Yeah, it'll be great. It's gonna be awesome. And then he's just like, the car never ran. And then it's just, eventually it will. You just sank so much money into it. Nah, but I actually enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. And like, you know, like you guys were talking about, it's just different goals, man. It always changes. And I think that's what keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
Black belt may be the goal, but like the real goal is just coming here, seeing people training, meeting people, traveling, like all that stuff.
Yeah, but is it the goal? Like whenever, and I will say this on my refrigerator, I have, you know, goals on my refrigerator for me. And it was before I got my blue belt, my goal was to get a black belt. And I'm like, then I was like, that's a stupid goal, because I just want to get better at jiu-jitsu. Like, because guess what? Every black belt up there was going to tell you there's something that they got. We just got a lesson from James Clingerman.
Yeah.
He said, I just got a lesson from Dedeco. I mean, Trey Pace said it on the podcast, and Ryan Hall is who told him this, who was his coach at the time.
Yeah.
He said, you're never as good and you're never as bad at jiu-jitsu as you think you are. And so I just want to get better. You know, that's it. And whether that means black belt, sure. I'm sure at some point in time, if I can, you know, if my old ass doesn't get killed or hurt doing this,
you'll be all right.
Debilitated, right? I train pretty responsibly, but that I will be, but that's not the goal. No. It's not my goal anyway. It's just to get better.
Yeah, that's it. You don't want to make goal, have the Ferrari. Like, how do you get to there, man? Like, you know, you got to take it one step at a time. Like, it's breaking up goals and all this other. Yeah, sure. You might want to have timetables and whatever, man. It's a 10 to 12 year journey for most people.
Sure.
Like, unless you're, you know, you're hardcore, just going at it every day, 8 days, 8 hours.
BJ Penn.
Yeah. Actually, my instructor, he recently just got promoted to a black belt, and he did it in under 6.
Wow.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, yeah, you know, he's a brown belt with like, you know, 4 years, 5 years. He's a monster, because that's all he does.
Yeah.
Trains and trains and trains and trains and trains and traveled to train. And like, that's how I met him, actually, was because he was out in Europe doing jiu-jitsu, BJJ Globetrotters camp. And I was like, yep, our visions line up, and I'd like to be your student if you're down with it. And that's just kind of how it came to be.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Rob, we have done about 47 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
And Phil and I both really appreciate you being on here and co-streaming. And we appreciate being on the Big Jiu-Jitsu podcast. So
absolutely.
Thank you very much for that. And folks out there, if you're not doing something to get better each and every day, get out there and do it. Rob, Bill, me, we all choose jiu-jitsu. We hope you do too.